and I know it's petty, but it would drive me out of my mind. I would ask a question, and I would get back, K. Hey, you want to go to dinner today? K.
Oh, yeah.
And so at one point I was like, what the hell is K?
Yeah.
What? Well, it's short for okay.
Okay.
I'm like,
yeah.
it's 2 freaking letters.
Yeah.
You just even one out.
I was no more than a foot away from her because her lips were shot up so much that it sounded like this. All right, two guys, I'm just saying, and last couple of weeks now, we have added platforms, so you might love to watch or listen to it on iHeart. You might love to watch and listen to it on Amazon. We've added a few platforms that we're happy about. We were supposed to have on because, and we got great feedback from Michelle Lukes talking about the world of being a single woman and the dating scene. And we were supposed to have someone that I know on, a man, to get his point of view today. They're not dating each other. It's just the male point of view and the female point of view. And last minute, he was asked if he could lecture a new police department in his area, all the recruits coming in. So he had to jump on that. So he apologized, but we're going to have them on. So It was the last minute of the cancellation. And I said to Lewis, okay, we're out of that loop and been out of that loop for years. But you and I both have heard from Michelle Lukes last week, but many other people, especially on social media, that this occurred to me. If there are that many people complaining, both male and female, if you are in the dating world today, and it does not matter what your demo is, young to older, and there's so many problems. However, there are so many of you. How come you haven't found each other?
I think everybody puts a lot of standards out there, and sometimes they have the person right next to them and they don't even know it. I know of people like, especially I have female friends. Back in the day, they used to say, "Hey, I'm just looking for a person like this, like this, like this," and I'm like, you just described me, right? Yeah, but we've been friends way too long. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
and I know that from gentlemen as well. Like, oh, I'm looking for a girl like this, like this, like this. It's like, dude, you hang out with this chick all the time. She's just like that. Yeah, but I just know her way too long.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Marlene had an idea last night when we were talking about the cancellation, and it's just something we all have the horror stories, but in those horror stories, it's funny. It's the train wreck that on the highway, everybody slows down when the cop is giving somebody else a ticket. If you think about that, there's this kind of sickness like, oh, he got the ticket and I didn't, so let's slow down and watch. And everybody does that. I never brought up, like in the past, in the years that I was single, trying to think about what is it that people are going through and did I go through it. But the stories that she has heard from me were all funny stories. They weren't about what happened and intimacy and stuff like that. There's no reason to talk about that. So she reminded me last night, you've got some funny stories, she said to me. You guys should talk about that, of like their oh my God stories. What would you do? So I thought about it for a while, because you had said to me, what if you and I had to wind up in today's dating world? What would that be like? And I immediately responded with, I'd be alone a lot of the time, because I would want to be alone if what they're telling us is out there on a regular basis. I don't know what, if that happened, what would you do?
Well, I got to say, from a gentleman that's been to war a couple of times, my dear friend Al did warn me and before I got married the first time. Even when I was jumping into that dating scene, when he and I had a conversation, I'm like, "Hey, I'm dating so and so," and she's like this, that's like that, and he goes, "Hey, man, I have a sister just like that. Don't do it." And I was young and
That's
blind.
true. I did say that. That's
You
true.
did, you did.
Yeah.
I remember we even had bad coffee back then.
Yeah.
And we had a long conversation, and I took it like I took it kind of lightly, and afterwards, after my divorce and everything else, I was
It
like,
was,
I was like, son of a gun, he had a point.
he was
I
right.
was like,
Yeah.
I didn't listen.
Yeah. And
So,
I know that's stereotyping certain cultures. That's why I said to you, "Hey, listen, I have two sisters. You might want to think this through." And it wasn't bad rapping the sisters. It was that this is a certain culture. You grew up a
right.
certain way. And if you're okay with that, that's good. I wasn't. So, um,
Yeah.
there are things that happen over and over and over again that
Mm,
you say, "Man, thank God I'm not in that circle anymore." Um, and probably one of them for me is the over the top that a lot of women do. I don't know if you see it in your travels, but I see it all the time. I get in an elevator 2 days ago. Look, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. So this woman is in the elevator. I get on the elevator, and when she turned to me to say hello, there was a little bit of, huh, at first. Her lips were shot up
yeah.
so much that when the elevator door opened up, the lips came out first, and then the rest of the body. And she said something to me, and Lewis, I'm not lying to you. I could not understand a word she said. I was no more than a foot away from her because her lips were shot up so much that it sounded like this. And now I don't want to be rude. I'm in the elevator and I'm saying, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. She repeats the same thing and she must have just gotten them. There was so much, I
Yeah.
guess, Botox in her or filler, whatever they do, that if she could understand if she could hear what I was thinking, and of course I didn't say it, but what I was thinking was, it might have been nice if you left Botox for the rest of the people in the world. It was, wow, man.
It's funny, now that you say that, that you're comfortable being alone, because I'm very extremely comfortable being alone. So my
Mhm.
my siblings are on my biological dad's side, so my brothers and my sister that passed away. But my middle brother that you met, that I used to
Yeah.
sing with, he has the personality. He's total opposite from me. He has the personality that he has to be with somebody all the time. That's why he's gotten engaged. Like
Oh,
we have a running joke in the family that he has engagement rings in his bed night table because he's got engaged like 8, 10 times. And then after, he's one of these people that he breaks up, he has to be with somebody immediately. And
yeah.
I'm the opposite way. I used to hang
Yeah.
out with them when I had the time, when we were traveling together and stuff like in touring. But outside of that, I grew up by myself all the time. I had a few little friends here and there when I was in school, but I wasn't the kid that was spending time in sleepovers at people's house, or I had sleepovers at my house. I was most of the time by myself. I was very social, but on my time, I was on myself. So I've always been very comfortable being alone. And I think and after my second divorce, in between being divorced and meeting Carmen, it's like a 5 or 6 year period. Well, actually, by
Mm,
the time I got divorced, by my separation, so it was
yeah.
like 6 or 7 year period, and it was a good time. I had time to evaluate myself, and I always thought about my brother. I'm like, how the hell does he jump in from relationship to
Yeah.
relationship?
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. Yeah, you hang out with people, but I would never like if I went out, I would never call it a date. I'd be like, "Hey, can we meet up for a drink? Can we meet up for coffee?" And I would leave it. I never did dinners. I never did anything else. That was my way of meeting somebody.
I agree. They can't be alone.
Mhm.
And yet the alone time is where you really are doing yourself justice. That you don't need to be with someone. So I wonder psychologically, is that, oh, no, I'm with somebody. I'm not alone, where they're kind of judging themselves rather than other people judging them, which nobody really is. It's like, you know what?
Correct.
I had the same thing. I had like a 5-year period where, especially when your friends know that you're officially on the market,
Mhm.
even though that's not where you put yourself. And a lot of people can relate to this, is that they set you up in different ways. And for me, the closest friends, there's a difference. The men who are your closest friend, they think they know you. Oh, I know you. I know you love this woman. And then the women uh, go by it in a different way. And I don't know if you went through that. And most of the time, if it's a woman, oh, we're going to have this little get together. So and so is going to be there. I'm not on the market. Yeah. Well, I know, just to come. Usually the women are more in tune with your taste for
Mhm.
some reason than the men that you spend a lot of time with for business or hanging out. Uh, and I had one guy who was close to me that for some reason did not understand in plain English after I have somebody you're going to really like. Stop.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out. And then he would set up these dinners. So, like you're really not with her, but wait a
Yeah.
minute, what are you talking about? There's 4 people. There's you and your
Yeah.
girl. There's me and her. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So just know going in, I'm
Yeah.
going for dinner to have a conversation. That's really it. And within 2 minutes, 3 minutes of hearing a conversation, I knew, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And then that same guy would come back 2 other times, 3 times in total, with it wasn't even close to what I'm attracted to or what I
Yeah.
like. And you kind of scratch your head going, how could you know me as well as you do and know this is a good match?
Talking about that, have you ever played matchmaker?
No.
Yeah, neither have I. Carmen loves playing matchmaker.
What is that about?
I don't
I mean,
know.
I know it's a do good feeling,
Yes.
but
I mean,
there's
and she's
something in
very
it.
good. You know what? She's very good reading people's persona and stuff like that and their character.
Okay.
I, I just, I'm like, no, I don't want to be part. What if it fails? I don't want to be part of that
That's
failure. No,
exactly the
yeah.
reason. Yeah. Yeah. That's
I don't.
exactly the
I don't
reason.
want to be
Yeah.
attached to that. It's
Yeah.
funny because
Yeah.
I was. This is the comparison that I did earlier, and I was thinking about this, and it's going to sound horrible, but it's kind of the comparison. In Puerto Rico, just ride with me on this one. In Puerto Rico, and this is the little Ritz crackers.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't like Ritz crackers, and I want to tell you why. In Puerto Rico, when there's a funeral, after the funeral, people get together at people's houses, and they give Ritz crackers with cheese and coffee. So when I was little, I could only, that's where I was first introduced to these crackers. So every time I see Ritz crackers, I assimilate it to funerals. So that's why I never plays matchmaker, because I don't want this person every time to see me be like, hey, man, especially if it's a good friend. It's like, you know that chick? What? Yeah. Every time I see you,
Yeah.
this is what I think about it. And they go a little bit. So that's why I have never played matchmaker, because for me, every time I see Ritz crackers, I associate it with funerals. So it kind of turns me off.
You said before about matchmaker. No, I've never done that. However,
Yeah, me either.
the one thing that I'll share with you was no names, but this extremely well-known man who I was friends with came to me and said, in his single days, do you know so and so? And it was a recording artist that I knew,
Uh,
and said, could you, maybe hook me up with her? And so I made a call, and then I said, look, if you guys want to exchange numbers, uh, let's say it didn't work out, but he came to me, but I still felt
Yeah.
bad about it. So the same person came back to me a second time and said, I see so and so. This was another woman that was on television at that point. And he said, maybe you can get me a number. I said, yeah, yeah, I'll try. And I did. The next day, I spoke to him, and I said to him, "How'd it go?" And I'll never forget the words. He said, "Thank you for, setting it up. But I now know anytime I want to be immediately depressed, I'll call this woman." That was his answer. And I went, "Oh, man." And then you have to get into what happened,
Yeah,
which is
exactly. Now you're committed.
yeah. Now it's like, because there was a part of me that says, I don't go there. He just said all she talked about was just depressing things at the table. And I went, see, that's why I don't want to, for that reason. But he had done really good things for me. And I said, what's the big deal? I had both their numbers. So, but that is the main reason about, and so this goes back for a long time, but
Yeah.
we're seeing today that it seems to be an epidemic of, uh, I just run into it again and again and again. And you hear the stories, when you're married as we are, you're out of that loop.
Correct.
You're out of that of where, and then you will talk to some single people that you might go out with, and you hear the stories again and again, but it's the stories of you show up on time, was not
Mhm.
groomed, had no plan. And that to me is like, what do you mean the guy had no plan? Like, that's part of the responsibility. Then they show up over and over again and say, okay, what do you want to do? Like, what? What do you mean? What do you want to do? You made the date. Let's go.
Yeah,
Whether it's
exactly.
a picnic or lunch or
Mhm.
dinner. And that was exactly what Marlene's friend the other day on the set told her again, that it's one after another. Like, there's no plan. They're asking me to I want to go here. Could you make the reservation? And I can't comprehend any of that. So, yeah, God forbid if that ever happened, I'd be real good alone. I would have no problem.
I'm right there with you. I mean, I've always been comfortable with it. I just think the rules have changed so much. And, when I have a conversation, first of all, I'm not a big texter. So, because I think it's easier to pick up the phone. Hey, man, X, Y, and Z. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Click. And
Yep.
in less than 30 seconds, I had the full conversation, the information I needed, or the
Yep.
information I needed to provide.
Done. Mhm.
So I could remember when I was in my single stage, I was, we weren't really dating, but I was kind of seeing this one girl more often. And she was a huge texter. And I've
Oh,
never been the type of person that I'm
uh,
always attached to my phone. Even to this day, Carmen she's the one paying more attention to my phone than I am. She'd be like, "Hey, you got a
yeah.
text, this and that,"
Yeah.
because I'll leave my
Yeah.
phone and it'll be 4 or 5 hours before I return.
Yeah.
And this girl was, and you know what was my biggest freaking problem? And I know it's petty, but it would drive me out of my mind. I would ask a question, and I would get back, "K, hey, you want to go to dinner
Oh,
today? K."
oh, yeah.
And so at one point I was like, "What the hell is K?"
Yeah.
Well, it's short for okay.
Okay.
I'm like,
Yeah.
"It's 2 freaking letters."
Yeah.
It's just even one out. And then it turned into the thumbs up. So that's why I hate the thumbs up, because the K got replaced by thumbs up, and I'm like, but at the
Yeah.
beginning I was like, "Are you being sarcastic? Like, are you giving me a thumbs up because it's like a finger or something?" Like, and I never. So we had a couple of comments. Oddly to say, I mean, we never went on to anything else. But I hate texting because it takes longer than a conversation.
I uh, I told you before. I saw just yesterday uh, a quick video on I don't know what platform it was, but real quick. Uh, and this woman got on, an attractive woman. Why she put the video out, I don't know, other than pure frustration. I wouldn't go to
Mm,
that degree. But calmly, I said, attractive, well spoken. She said, I have made a decision today. I kept watching. Usually I'm gone. I don't want to watch those. And she said, my new attitude is if you're not husband material from the get go, I'm staying home. And I went,
Huh.
wow, okay, there's an interest of this is the standard that I want, and the attraction needs to be there. And
Right.
everybody has their own way of doing things. You want to grow into things, or do you need the attraction in some way to be there? And I thought that was a very interesting, short, quick post. But the way she delivered it was really about, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. And if you're not, you take care, but I've made my decision. It wasn't one of these that they're in your face. Uh, I thought that was a very interesting thing that it's rampant now, and it's rampant
Mm.
with the amount of people that say, "No, I'm good where I am."
I think she had a good point, especially she was making it clear that she was looking for an actual partner, right? Or an actual
Future, yeah,
relationship. So,
yeah,
and I'll ask you this, and I knew, through going out and just when I met Carmen, I the one of the things was that she didn't do that everybody else would do that I would go out with was call me by my radio name. And Carmen never did that from the first time that we ever met. She called
good.
me by my first name, Louis, and that's right out of the gate. I was like, okay, we could have a real conversation. It's not
Mm-hmm.
about anything else
Mm-hmm.
about my background, whatever, this and that was something that stood out always with Carmen, and obviously the attraction and so on and so forth. But when her and I have had this a conversation that when we met, neither her or I were actually looking. It's just, it's cool.
Yeah,
We gelled
yeah.
this and that, and we were just hanging, and it was just natural, right? And then COVID hit, and it's either you sink or you float, right? There was no, you were going out. There was no facade anywhere, so it was all very organic, our relationship. But I do remember because she asked me one time, she's like, "What made you follow up?" And I was like, you're the only person that has always that from the get go always called me by my first name. And we kept it at a personal level, and it was nothing else than that. On your case, have you had that? Like, and was that one of the things when you were on the dating scene that once you got a little serious with Marlene that stood out to you?
Yeah, I think when again, what you said is true that I wasn't looking for it,
Mhm.
and again, what's that old saying? You can stand there and watch a pot of water waiting for it to boil, and it never does. You walk away for a second, you come back, there it is. So that's where it was, and honestly, I wasn't looking for anything, but um, I think that what I liked about her was after we met and I gave her the information that she waited a few days and she told me the story that she called her best friend. And in my case, we're in New York, you have a name that a lot of people know. So I knew
Mhm.
that was an automatic built in that when people met me, they knew the name. And she called her friend to say, "Should I call him?" And I think they were discussing that, so I like everything about him, and he had no air about him, and and her friend said, "What do you have to lose? You know about who he is, and but maybe get to know him, a
Yeah,
little bit." So that's what because the other way is, when you're meeting somebody that you're introduced to and you have any type of public name, that's always going to come up front
correct.
first because that's what they know you from. They recognize your name.
Mhm.
So that one on one takes time. Uh, but in this case, she said, I didn't get that call the next day and actually kind of forgot about it. And because it was days later that she did. So that was a breath of fresh air.
Big question: if
If
you had to go back into that pool, would you dive in or would you would you stay tanning in the sunlight and
eh,
just enjoying the sun rays?
let me give you a picture. When you go into the pool and you walk slow, how freezing that is rather than
Yeah.
diving in.
Yes.
Okay. I would not even be in the pool. I would have a glass of one of my favorite wines. I'd be on a beach somewhere looking
Yeah.
out, probably with a hat on somewhere, and just enjoying life and let life unfold. And if something happened, something happened. But uh, I'm hearing too much on a regular basis of the negativity. And then again, when it's something that you actually, I don't care, it comes to you. It's the people who hold on so tight to anything that nothing is getting through. And that I've learned in my life that I just let it go. And if something is going to happen, it's going to come to you. If there's that word, if you are
Yeah.
in that situation, how are you handling it? What are you going to do?
Uh, I think I'm in the social stage. I could I could hang out in a social gathering.
Yeah.
One-on-one would be difficult, especially nowadays. I'd be afraid. I'd be like, "Oh, you got me mad. I'm gonna put it on social media. Here you go. Wow, I'm gonna make you viral." Blah, blah." It's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm past that. It's like
Yeah.
maybe in a social environment.
It's okay. It's okay if you don't find someone right
Mhm.
now. You never know. Or if it's okay that you retire from a certain kind of life that you were
Correct.
trying to go after. And also uh, if I know it on my side, and I'm sure it is with you, but on my side, it makes me appreciate every time I hear a story from either a female friend or a male friend. It makes me appreciate what I have in Marlene and that you're
True.
lucky that,
Yes.
you found it. I'm sure you concur with that, as well.
Yeah. It took me 3 times, but I got it. I got it. I got it.
Wow.
I finally
Third
made it
time,
to the
what's that?
finish line.
Wait, what's that? That's another one. Third time's a charm, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
the saying? So, but we'd love to hear from people in their situations, no matter where you are in the world. And, it's a great topic for another episode on Two Guys. I'm Just Saying.